Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Today's recitation is from Canto 2, The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta, confirmed, verses 23 to 46. Yadasya nabhyan nalinada Yadasya nabhyan nalinada Hamasam mahatmanah navidam yagna sambharan purushavayavanrite.
Krishna. Translation. When I was born from the abdominal lotus flower of the Lord Mahavishnu, the great person, I had no ingredients for sacrificial performances, except the bodily limbs of the personality of God, of the great personality of Godhead.
Teshu yagnasya pashavas savanaspataya kushaha idam cha deva yajanam kalaschoru gunanvitaha.
For performing sacrificial ceremonies, one requires sacrificial ingredients such as flowers, leaves, and straw, along with a sacrificial altar and a suitable timing spring.
Vastunyosha sneha rasaloha mrido jalam richo yajumshi samani chaturhotram cha sattama.
Other requirements are utensils, grains, clarified butter, honey, gold, earth, water, the Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda and 4 priests to perform the sacrifice.
Namadheyani mantrascha dakshinascha vratani cha devatanu kalpas sankalpastantrameva cha.
Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense, in accordance with a particular scripture, for specific purposes and by specific processes.
Gatayo matayaschaiva prayashchitam samarpanam purushavaya vairate sambhara sambritamaya.
Thus I had to arrange all these necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from the personal bodily parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By invocation of the demigods' names, the ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and thus compensation and ultimate offering were complete.
Iti sambrita sambhara purushavaya vairaham tameva purusham yagnam tenaivaya jamishwaram.
Thus I created the ingredients and paraphernalia for offering sacrifice out of the parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, and I performed the sacrifice to satisfy the Lord.
Tataste bhratara ime prajanam patayo nava ayajjan vyaktam avyaktam purusham susamahitaha.
My dear son, thereafter your 9 brothers, who are the masters of living creatures, performed the sacrifice with proper rituals, to satisfy both the manifested and non-manifested personalities.
ततश्च मनवः काले इजीर ऋषयो परा पितरो विबुधा दैत्या मनुष्या कृत मनुष्या क्रतुभिर्विभुम्.
Thereafter, the Manus, the fathers of mankind, the great sages, the forefathers, the learned scholars, the Daityas, and mankind performed sacrifices meant to please the Supreme Lord.
नारायणे भगवति तदिदं विश्वमाहितं गृहीतमायुरुगुणः सर्गादावगुणस्वतः.
All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self-sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes.
सृजामि तनियुक्तोऽहं हरो हरति तद्वशः विश्वं पुरुषरूपेण परिपाति त्रिशाक्तिधृक्.
By his will I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself in his eternal form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of these three energies.
इति ते भीहितं तात यथेदमनुपृच्छसि नान्यद् भगवतः किंचित् भाव्यं सदात्मकम्.
My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have thus explained unto you. And you must know for certain that whatever there is, either as cause or as effect, both in the material and spiritual worlds, is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
न भारती मेघ मृषोपलक्ष्यते न वै क्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषा गतिः न मे हृषिकाणि पतन्त्यसत्पथे यन्मे हृदकण्ठश्चवता धृतो हरिः.
Mataji, I need to see the text 34. Thank you, Mataji. Haribol. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter.
सोऽहं समाम्नायमयस्तपोमयः प्रजापतीनामभिवन्दितः पतिः आस्थाय योगं निपुणं समाहितः तं नाध्यगच्छं यत आत्मसम्भवः.
Thank you, Mataji. Although I'm known as the great Brahma, perfect in the disciplic succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities, and am an expert in mystic powers and self-realization, and although I'm recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities, who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand him, the Lord, the very source of my birth.
नतोऽस्म्यहं तच्चरणं सुमीयुषां भवच्छिदं स्वस्त्ययनं सुमङ्गलं यो ह्यात्ममाया विभवं स्म पर्यगात् यथा नभस्वान्त मथा परकुतः.
Therefore, it is best for me to surrender unto his feet which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all spacious and allows one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. So what can others do when the Lord himself is unable to estimate his own limits?
नाहं न यूयं यदृतां गतिं विदुर् न वामदेवः किमुतापरसुराः तन्मायया मोहितबद्धयस्ते त्वदम् विनिर्मितं चात्मसमं विचक्ष्महे.
Since neither Lord Shiva, nor you, nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory, external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our individual ability.
यस्वावतारकर्माणि गायन्ति ह्यास्मदादयः नयं विदन्ति तत्त्वेन तस्मै भगवते नमः.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnations and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is.
स एष आद्यः पुरुषः कल्पे कल्पे सृजत्यजः आत्मात्मन्यात्मनात्मानं संयच्छति पाति च.
That Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos. But he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
विशुद्धं केवलं ज्ञानं प्रत्यक्षसम्यगवस्थितं सत्यं पूर्णमनाद्यान्तं निर्गुणं नित्यमद्वयम्. ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयाः यदा तदेवास सतर्कैस्तेरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्.
The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations of material things. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all-pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted, and the Lord disappears from our sight.
आद्योऽवतारः पुरुषः परस्य कालस्वभावः सदसन्मनश्च द्रव्यं विकारो गुण इन्द्रियाणि विराट् स्वराट् स्थाणुचरिष्णु भूम्नः.
Karunarna Vasayi Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause, and effects. Mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving.
अहं भवो यज्ञ इमे प्रजेशा दक्षादयो ये भवदादयश्च स्वर्लोकपालः खगलोकपाला नृलोकपालस्तललोकपालः गन्धर्वविद्या धरचारणेशा ये यक्षरक्षो रगनाघनाथः ये वा ऋषीणां वृषभा पृथक् पितॄणां दैत्येन्द्रसिद्धेश्वरदानवेन्द्रः अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाचभूत कूष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यधीशः यत्किं च लोके भगवन्महस्व दोजःसहस्वत् बलवत् क्षमावत् श्रीः हि विभूत्यात्मवतत्हुतार्णम् तत्त्वं पररूप वदस्वरूपम्.
I, myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourself, Narada and the Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of Bhuraloka planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gandharva planets, the leaders of Vidyahara planets, the leaders of the Charanaloka planets, the leader of the Yakshas, Rakshas, and Uragas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheist, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, Satans, Jinn, Kusmandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perceptual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth in the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord.
प्राधान्यतो यानृष आमनन्ति लीलावतारान् पुरुषस्य भूम्नः आपीयतां कर्णकषायशोषा ननु क्रमिष्येत इमान् सुपेशाम्.
O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as Leela Avtaras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and to be relished. Therefore, they're in my heart. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the opportunity and apologies for any mistakes.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna, please forgive us for all the mistakes we have done. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you Namrata Mataji. Thank you Indra Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It is my great pleasure to introduce dear Shriya Mataji, who is facilitating on chat session for the first time. Shriya Mataji has been in ISKCON for the last 6 years, and she has done many courses at Bhaktivedanta Manor and at ISKCON Soho Temple. Mataji He has been giving evening classes at ISKCON London and also facilitates Bhagavad Gita classes in different sanghas. She is a sweet kirtanier, does kirtans for festivals and Sundays feasts, sings beautiful bhajans. She also does pujari services at the temple. And Mataji, she is working in medical field and is part of BMA, which is Bhakti Vedanta Medical Association in UK, which is involved in devotee care. I request all the devotees to give Mataji your blessings. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Shri Mataji, to the chat session. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you so much for the beautiful introduction that I don't deserve, but thank you for being so humble. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak something about the Lord and glorify Him. And thank you so much for the beautiful recitations, Mamta Mataji and Namrata Mataji. They were done very beautifully, and you did it so nicely and slowly so that everyone can understand. That's so nice. Thank you, Mataji. So I would like to share my screen now, Mataji. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So before I could start speaking about this chapter in Bhagavatam, I would like to do some prayers, and then I will read the Sanskrit verse, translation, and purport again, and then we'll discuss about it. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Shrinavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suratsatam Nashtaprayeshva Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. And I would also like to ask for blessings from my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and the previous acharyas and Goswamis and all the demigods and Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas and Radha and Krishna so that I can glorify them and speak something meaningful. Hare Krishna. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Verse 39. स एष आद्यः पुरुषः कल्पे कल्पे सृजत्यजः आत्मात्मान्य आत्मनात्मानं स संयच्छति पाति च सः he एषः the very आद्यः the original personality of Godhead Purushah the Mahavishnu incarnation a plenary portion of Govinda Lord Krishna kalpe kalpe in each and every millennium Srajati creates Ajaha, the unborn Atma, self, Atmani, upon the self, Atmana, by his own self, Atmanam, own self, Saha, he, Samyachati, absorbs, Pati, maintains, Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That supreme original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again. Purport. The creation is not different from the Lord, and still, he is not in the creation. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 9.4 as follows. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva avasthitaha. The impersonal conception of absolute truth is also a form of Lord called Avyakta Murti. Murti means form, because his impersonal feature is inexplicable to our limited senses, he is the Avyakta Murti form. And in that inexplicable form of the Lord, the whole creation is resting. Or, in other words, the whole creation is the Lord Himself, and the creation is also non different from Him. The impersonalist gives stress to the impersonal form or feature of the Lord and does not believe in the original personality of Lord, but the Vaishnavas accept the original form of the Lord, of whom the impersonal form is merely one of the features. The impersonal and personal conceptions of Lord are existing simultaneously, and this fact is clearly described in both the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and also in other various Vedic scriptures. The inconceivable to human intelligence, the idea must simply be accepted on the authority of scriptures, and it can only be practically realized by the progress of devotional service unto the Lord, and never by mental speculation or inductive logic. The impersonalists depend more or less on inductive logic, and therefore they always remain in darkness. But the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, their conception of Krishna is not clear, although everything is clearly mentioned in all the Vedic scriptures. A poor fund of knowledge cannot comprehend the existence of an original personal form of the Lord when He is expanded in everything. This imperfectness is due more or less to the material conception that a substance distributed widely in parts can no longer exist in the original form. The original personality of Godhead, Adyaha, Govinda, expands himself as Mahavishnu incarnation and rests in the causal ocean, which he himself creates. Brahma Samhita confirms this as follows: Yaha karanarnva jale bhajati sma yoga nidram ananta jagat and sharoma kupaha adhara shaktim avalambya param swamurtim govindam adi purusham tam aham bhajami. Lord Brahma says in the Brahma Samhita, quote, I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who lies down in the causal ocean in his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, with all the universes generating from the pores of the hair on his transcendental body, and who accepts the mystic slumber of eternity. So, this Mahavishnu is the first incarnation in the creation, and from him all the universes are generated and all the material manifestations are produced one after another. The causal ocean is created by the Lord as the Mahat Tattva, as a cloud in the spiritual sky, and is only a part of his different manifestations. The spiritual sky is an expansion of his personal rays, and he is Mahat Tattva cloud also. He lies down and generates the universes by his breathing, and again, by entering into each universe as Garbhodakashai Vishnu, he creates Brahma, Shiva, and many other demigods for maintenance of the universe, and again absorbs the whole thing into this person as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.7. Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpado Vishrajamyaham. Quote, O son of Kunti, when the kalpa or the duration of the life of Brahma is ended, then all the created manifestations enter into my prakriti or energy. And again, when I desire, the same creation takes place by my personal energy. Unquote. The conclusion is that these are all but the displays of the Lord's inconceivable personal energies, of which no one can have any full information. This point we have already discussed. Check. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकुल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हे कृष्णा जय. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, verse 39. So Srimad Bhagavatam's Canto 2 mostly speaks about cosmic manifestation, and it explains about the cosmos and how is it manifested, how it comes into existence, and how it is sustained and how it annihilates. The cosmos is also called the universe. So it explains about the universal manifestation of the Lord. And if we talk about specifically about chapter 6, the chapter 6 name is Purusha Shukta. So Purusha means, Purusha here specifies the Lord himself. He is the supreme Purush, the supreme person. And Shukta means hymns, which is also known as praise. So this chapter particularly is all about praising the supreme person, praising the universal form of the Lord, and praising his energy, and considering him as the topmost person. So in this chapter 6, Lord Brahma, who is the first living entity, is telling his son Narad Muni about the universal form, about the opulences of the absolute, of the universal form of the Lord. And this particular verse is very, very interesting, because here Lord Brahma is telling about Lord as Mahavishnu. How does he creates? He's talking about creation here, how he creates the universe, how he sustains it, and how he annihilates it. And he's stressing into the fact that Mahavishnu is the cause of all the causes, that we already have also studied in Bhagavad Gita. And then it also specifies about personal form of Lord, that Krishna is personal, he's a person. Is not, he has both impersonal and personal features, but what is more important for us to know is his personal form, because we are devotees, because we are practicing devotional service. So if we see the translation again, it says that supreme original personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. He creates, but he is not created. The creation, however, takes place in him, and this material substance and manifestation are all himself. It's not that he's separate from them. We'll discuss about it. How is that? He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into him again. And in Srila Prabhupada has very beautifully explained with various references from Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 9, verse 4, verse 7, and then chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita also, that we'll also see. So he says the creation is non-different from the Lord, and still he is not in the creation. So this is the kind of paradox, actually, something unbelievable. Can we think of something with our mind, with our logical mind, that there is something out there which creates something, which created us, and we can't see it? It's difficult for scientists, for atheist people to believe. And most of the people today, they don't believe in God. They don't believe that something can create us. So here, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that creation is non-different from the Lord, and still he is not in the creation. So this is very confusing for common man to think about it. He can't use his logical mind to think about something That is creation, but he creates it, but is not a part of it. So it is explained in Bhagavad Gita very nicely. Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Bhagavad Gita 9.4, it says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva avasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So how is it that possible? Lord Shri Krishna's name, fame, pastime, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. So that this is something that we cannot understand with our limited ability, with our limited mind and senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance, he is revealed. So Prabhupada is saying that only through proper guidance and following the process that he has given us, we can, maybe our guru, with our guru's blessings and Vaishnava's blessings, we can understand, he can reveal himself because his devotees are very dear to him. And otherwise, there is no other way to understand Krishna through these senses. In Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is stated, one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, always within himself and outside himself if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude towards him. Again, the same thing. We can only understand Krishna through love, not through our sense ability. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible. We cannot see him, but he is there. Here it is said that although he is all-pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by material senses. This is indicated here by the word avyakta murtina. Avyakta. What does avyakta means? Vyakt means something that is manifested, something that we can see, something that is present. And avyakta means something that is not manifested. So avyakta murti. Murti means form. So he is avyakta murtina. He is both manifested and non-manifested because he's inconceivable. He's beyond our imagination. So he can also be there, he can also not be there. So Avyakta Murtina is his impersonal form, actually, Avyakta, which we cannot see. That is what Avyakta Murtina means. We cannot see him, everything is resting in him. As we have discussed in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two energies, superior, which is in the spiritual sky, and inferior material energy. Inferior energy is in the material universe, material platform. Just as the sunshine, very good example given by Prabhupada here about Krishna being indifferent and different from, his creation. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. So an example of sunshine is given here, that sunshine, the sun himself, the sun disk and the sun rays are, the source is same, is coming from the sun. The sun rays are coming from the sun. But that doesn't mean that the rays and the sun has same quantity. The rays are still rays, and sun disk is the original source. So it is more advanced, more big, wider, it's broad. But the rays are just part of it. And also, sometimes we cannot see sun, but we can see the light. We can see, it's bright outside. We can see the rays, but sometimes we can't see the sun. But that doesn't mean the sun is not present. The sun is present. There is a source. That's why the rays are seen. So in the same way, Krishna is always there, but we can only see his energy. We are all his material energy, we are his marginal energy, jiva, souls. We are the marginal energy, and whatever maya or whatever material is there is his material energy. So his material energies are working in this world. His three modes are working, and the material energies are doing all the work for Krishna, and he is aloof. He doesn't do anything. He has nothing to do with the material thing. Just like a prime minister. A prime minister doesn't have to be everywhere in all the states of the country. He has some ministers looking after the particular state. So the ministers are the energy, just in the same way Krishna has the ministers, has material energy, who are performing different activities in the material universe, in material world. But Krishna doesn't need to be present, physically present in every state, in every place. So in the same way, Krishna, we usually follow ISKCON, follow the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his philosophy was what? Can someone tell me what is the basic, what is the foundation of our philosophy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave? Anyone would like to unmute?
Is it Hare Krishna Mataji?
Yes,
Is it
Mataji.
Achinta Bheda Bheda?
Yes, Mataji, that's right. And what does that mean? Would you like to?
I think something like something which is there, but at the same time it is not there. Inconceivable.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mataji. What's your name, Mataji?
Puja.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, so you're right. So Achinta Bheda Bhed. Achinta means inconceivable. Bhed means different, and Abhed means non-different. So that is the philosophy that we're following, that Krishna is simultaneously different also and same also. So we can take example of sun here. The sun has its rays, but that the rays are not sun himself. There is a sun disk, and then the energy comes out of the sun. So in the same way, Krishna is present as a person, but his energies, he's got his energies also in the form of rays, but the rays don't have the same quantity as the sun disk has. So Krishna is quantitatively much bigger, has more quantity, is more in quantity as compared to his energies, as compared to jivas, as compared to us. We have same quality as Krishna, but Krishna is vast. Krishna is really, we can't understand him, and we cannot compare our qualities with his. His quantity is huge. So that is the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So yet one should not conclude that because he's spread all over, he has lost his personal existence. Like, it's not that the rays of sun are spread all over, so there is no sun. There's personal sun present there, the same thing. To refute such an argument, the Lord says, I'm everywhere and everything is in me, but still I'm aloof. For example, a king heads a government, the same example that I gave, but the manifestation of king's energy, the different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still, one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. That is crude example. Similarly, all manifestations that we see and everything that exists, both in this material world and in the spiritual world, are resting on the energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by diffusion of his different energies, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. He is everywhere present by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. So this last sentence is very significant here. He's everywhere present by his personal representation. What does that we mean by that? Can someone like to unmute? He is everywhere present by his personal representation. Himself is not present, but his personal representatives are present in the form of.
Is he talking about Paramatma?
His representation, his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. Okay, we can also say that, but his Krishna is present. If you have a question, Mataji, from Krishna, and you want to personally speak with him, how will you reach him? How do you usually communicate with Krishna, and how do you take messages?
Deities that we have?
Yes, but how do you hear him? Like, how can you communicate with Krishna? Is there any, like, you can see again his personal representation. So it's through gurus. Yeah.
Through Guru, yes.
Guru. And through Guru, through devotees, through senior Vaishnavas, he comes in the form of his associates. His associates and Guru, are his energies only that he sends, and then we can, they can guide us and we can communicate. So sometimes when I joined this ISKCON, I had this question in the very beginning when I was going through Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna was present in front of Krishna. Krishna was present in front of Arjuna. Krishna was there to answer. But I don't have anyone. How can I approach Krishna? There's no one. I want to speak with him. And then this was revealed to me that you can speak to Krishna through his representatives, through devotees, through his pure devotees, through Guru. They are the representatives of Krishna. Krishna has sent them personally to give answers to our questions. Sometimes we have some questions in our mind and we read Prabhupada's books, and then the answer is there, because Prabhupada's books are not, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are not different from Krishna himself. In form of books, in form of Guru, Shastras, he, represents himself. So if we go back to the verse, yeah. So it explains about the same thing, Avyakta Murti form, which means non-manifested form of Krishna, which is the impersonal form, which we cannot understand that form. So, and it is written here, the impersonalist gives stress to the impersonal form or feature of the Lord and does not believe in the original personality of God, of the Lord. But the Vaishnavas accept the original form of Lord, from whom the impersonal form is merely one of the features. The impersonal conceptions of Lord are existing simultaneously, and this fact is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The inconceivable to human intelligence, the idea must simply be accepted on the authority of scriptures, and it can only be practically realized by the process of devotional service unto the Lord, never by the mental speculation. So first thing, very important here, that Prabhupada is stressing here, is that we need to have the faith. We need to have faith in the philosophy, faith in the acharyas, faith in the shastras, that whatever we are reading, whatever we've been told is true, that Krishna is personal form. We have to have this faith first in order to start doing the devotional service, and we have to follow the scriptures. So when we follow this process of devotional service that Prabhupada has also explained, we can then, Krishna says that he can reveal himself to us if we follow this, this process. So Krishna reveals himself by seeing our sincere efforts, and he reveals himself through sadhu, shastras, and guru. That's how Krishna reveals himself. So we have to work for it. We have to at least have faith and shraddha. That is the first process of our devotional service, shraddha, to have shraddha. And then the impersonalists depend more or less on inductive logic. Therefore, they always remain in darkness about the original personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. Their conception of Krishna is not clear. Poor fund of knowledge cannot comprehend the existence of original person from the Lord when he is expanded in everything. This imperfectness is due or more or less to the material conception that a substance distributed widely in parts can no longer exist in the original form. So Prabhupada actually here stresses on the impersonalists. He was very, very against impersonalists, and his mission, Prabhupada's mission, was to give Krishna, and the second mission was to remove this impersonalist tendencies from the world, because people have become so much atheistic and impersonalist that they're missing out the point. They're missing the boat back to Godhead. So they have to remove this knowledge of impersonalist form of God that, and they keep meditating on it, and then they have to come back. If I show you, wait a minute. The cosmology, with the cosmology chart. Can you see it?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so this is the Goloka chart that is quite complex also, but I'm just quickly going to show you that how it actually begins. It begins here. You can see this one. This is Madhurya Dham, which is our goal. We want to go back to Krishna. Yeah, this is the Dham. And Krishna's first expansion is Balaram. And from Balaram comes 4 other expansions, and that are Vasudev, Sankrishna, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, 4 expansions. And then, this is Madhurya Dham. And then if we go further down, we see Vaikuntha Lokas. Yeah, this is Golaka Vrindavan, Madhurya Dham, and then comes the Aishwarya Dham, where you can see all the living entities. When they reach this Dham, they get the bodies like Vishnu's, because this is Vaikuntha Lok. And some of the avatars you can see, Lord Vishnu's avatars are also here. So depends on your bhakti and on your sadhana and what were you aiming throughout your life. You get the destination after your death. So if you're chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you can see if you're chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you'll go back straight away. You'll surpass all the layers and you'll go back to Krishna Loka and associate with Krishna directly. However, if you're worshipping a particular form of Krishna, like Vishnu and some other incarnations, then you go to the Vaikuntha Lokas, which is also very good, which is pure, no birth, old age, death, because this is spiritual world. This is spiritual. You don't come back from here. But then if you were aiming for that, you will come here. You were aiming for this Vaikuntha Lok, you will come to the Vaikuntha Lok. You will get the same four-handed form of Narayan. And if you go further down, you see Kailash. And Kailash is where Lord Shiva, who is the topmost Vaishnava, he resides. And then if you go further down, you see the Brahma Jyoti. So the reason for making this chart available was that I wanted to show you that here the Jnana yogis attain this destination, Brahma Jyoti, Krishna's effulgence. So they keep meditating on Krishna's effulgence, Krishna's impersonal form, and then they're stuck here. They keep floating here for years and years, and I don't know how many years they keep floating here, but they are not happy. They're happy. They're happy. They're aloof from material. They think that they've merged into the Brahma Jyoti, but then at some point, because there is no personal relationship with Krishna, no personal exchange of love, they fall down because they get confused. Then they fall down and they come back to the world again, and they start from where they left. Then they start looking for more and more and more. Maybe they'll go to Kailash, maybe they'll go to Vaikunthas, and then if they do the bhakti properly, then they'll straight away go to Krishna Loka. So this is where the impersonalists keep, lying for years and years. And then you can see this is the Karan ocean. Mahavishnu will, Prabhupada has talked about it in the purport, in the next few lines, that this is the Karan ocean, which is Karan means reason. So this is the cause, and this is Mahavishnu, the Mahavishnu that we're talking about in the purport, Mahavishnu. So he's the cause of all causes. He's the cause of the whole manifestation, because through Mahavishnu's body, there are many pores in his body, and these pores, each pore emanates of universe, and those universes, you can imagine, those universes are just size of mustard seeds, and that's a universe just as the size of mustard seeds through the pores of his body. And then in each universe, Krishna again, Mahavishnu again enters as Garbhodakashay Vishnu. He enters in each universe, each mustard seed size universe as Garbhodakashay Vishnu in a Garbhodakai ocean. And then in each universe, you can see this. And Garbhodakashay Vishnu's name only suggests that from his navel comes Lord Brahma. And he creates Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu again. So Lord Vishnu that I'm talking about here, that he creates, is the Paramatma form that goes into all living entities throughout the universe. All the living entities, like we souls, we have got a Krishna in the form of this Kshirodakashay Vishnu, and which we also say call as Paramatma and Super Soul. So this is a short brief about the Goloka chart, and just wanted to show you that what is the position of Krishna. We can see that we don't have to, when we have to, after death, we have to pass through these all layers, these all material layers, which is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So what happens, these jnanis or impersonalists or some other kind of yoga, whatever they're doing, they after that, obviously they have done some yogic mysticism, and they've done some yoga and all, whatever meditation they've done, they have done something. So they come out of this, the soul comes out of these layers, these material layers. But what happens if they haven't overcome their intelligence or in false ego? the impersonalist, or we can talk, we can say impersonalist, if they haven't overcome these layers throughout their life, the false ego is there, then they have to come back. They cannot pass this layer, this material layer, they cannot pass. So they cannot pass the universe itself. So they have to do a lot of austerity, a lot of tapasya, whatever, to pass these layers, material layers, to be able to go to the higher planets. But for us, Krishna has made it so easy. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it so easy that we just have to chant Hare Krishna mantra, which has come from the spiritual world, from Goloka Vrindavan itself, you can see. And we don't need to worry about all these layers. We don't have to go to Satyalok or some other kind of Brahmalok, or other kind of planets, because we are aiming higher. We are aiming for Krishna Lok. So we can directly get entry to Krishna Lok, and we can naturally surpass this material layer, because we won't be under the three modes anymore. Krishna is taking care of us, and we can go back. So that's a brief about the Goloka chart, and it was important for us to understand that what is the position of impersonalist, and why Prabhupada is stressing on impersonalism so much. That was actually this one of the missions of coming down to us, to break through this mentality of atheism and impersonalism, and love the personal form of Lord. So here in the same purport, there are some, the original personality of Godhead, Govinda expands himself as Mahavishnu, that we already discussed, and rests in the causal ocean, which he himself creates. And in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says, I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who lies down in the causal ocean in his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, with all the universes generating from the pores of the hair of his transcendental body, and who accepts the mystic slumber of eternity. So this Mahavishnu is the first incarnation of creation that we saw, three Purushas. So he is the first Mahavishnu, then comes Garbhodakashi, and then Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. The causal ocean is created by the Lord as Mahat Tattva, as a cloud in the spiritual sky, and is only a part of his different manifestation. It's only a part, this Mahat Tattva. The spiritual sky is an expansion of his personal rays, and he is Mahat Tattva cloud also. He lies down and generates the universes by his breathing. So it is said that when he breathes in, the entire cosmic manifestation annihilates, and when he breathes out, then the universes are, comes out of his pores, of his body. So he creates Brahma, Shiva, and many other demigods for maintenance of the universe, and again absorbs the whole thing. In Bhagavad Gita 9.7, it is said, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpado Visrajamyaham. It says that, O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all material manifestation enter into my nature, and at the beginning of other millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So he's telling that he is the cause. He creates, he maintains, and he himself annihilates it. Yeah. So, O son of Kunti, when the kalpa, or the duration of the life of Brahma, so duration of life of Brahma is usually 100 years, and one day of Brahma's is called as a kalpa, and a kalpa is very long. A kalpa has, can someone tell me that how many yugas are there in one kalpa? One kalpa is Brahma's one day. Does someone know?
Is it 1,000 yugas?
Yes, Mataji, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. Is it Puja, Mataji?
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, that's right. So Lord Brahma lives for 100 years. His one day is equal to one kalpa, and one kalpa is 1,000 cycles of yugas, 1,000 cycles. So so one cycle of yugas is Kali Yuga, this Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and such 1,000 cycles makes one day of Brahma. So you can imagine how long Brahma lives for. And in Brahma's one day, Krishna comes. In Brahma's one day. So here it says, O son of Kunti, when the kalpa, or the duration of life of Brahma, is ended, then all the created manifestation enter into my prakriti, or energy. And again, when I desire, the same creation takes place by my personal energy. So when Brahma's life is ended, the entire material manifestation is also annihilated. And then again, the conclusion is that these are all but displays of Lord's inconceivable personal energies, of which no one can have any full information. This point we have already discussed. So the reason why it is explained is that for our so that we can get some references like about Lord Vishnu and how does, if someone is interested in reading more about it. But we don't really need to know about all these this into detail. All we want to know is chanting, is to do our devotional service for our chanting and doing our devotional service properly and following the guru's instructions. That is more important for us. The Maha Mantra itself is very important for us because that is going to take us back. We don't need so much information. We don't need to have so much knowledge about all these matters. That's what Prabhupada says, that it's just for reference. But all we need to know, if we know how to chant and how to surrender unto Krishna and see him as a person, that's what the verse is actually stressing about, is to accept Krishna as a person and have loving exchange with him and make it easy, make our lives easy to go back to Godhead rather than doing some other kind of yoga and then getting stuck in that Brahma Jyoti for years and years and then coming back and realizing that I wasted my time and I couldn't feel satisfied after wandering in the Brahma Jyoti for so many times, because sometimes the false ego is there. We don't want to accept that we are servants of Krishna. We don't want to accept that. We want to accept that we are superior and we can we can become God. That's what's the problem is with the impersonalists, because they don't accept that that they don't want to serve someone. They think that why should I serve someone? So they don't know that they're serving the senses, or they're still serving their false ego, their logical mind. They're imprisoned. They have imprisoned themselves within their limited thinking. They're not accepting God. So, and then in Bhagavad Gita 2.2, Krishna says something. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagwan through the Gita. Bhagwan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases. We know the absolute truth is realized in three phases. That is Brahman, that is the first phase. Then the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit. Brahman is the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit. Then comes the Paramatma, super soul, and then comes the Bhagwan. These are the three three phases of God realization. And the first phase is Brahman, the impersonal form of Lord. Then comes your Paramatma, then comes the Bhagwan. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, chapter 11, universal form, Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna. And Arjuna could not see it. Arjuna got bewildered. Arjuna could not tolerate the effulgence, and it was quite horrible for him. But Krishna had to do that for us, for the people of Kali Yuga, so that we get a proof, because we need proof. He knew how the people of Kali Yuga are going to be. They will not accept God easily. They will not accept, even after giving so many instructions of Vedas, we will not accept. So Krishna had to show his universal form for all of us to believe that yes, there is a personal form. But he also proved through Arjuna's words, when Arjuna said that, Krishna, please show me your sweet two-handed form with the flute. I can't tolerate this. So he himself, the Arjuna, he was given divine vision. He couldn't tolerate that form, universal form of Krishna. So so Krishna is giving such an easy process for us to do the devotional service, to surrender unto him, to do a devotional service. And it only takes, what does it take? It only takes chanting Krishna's names, following the instructions, and dancing and feasting. Such an easy process for this Yuga Dharma of taking the Lord's names. But still some people they're not accepting Lord as person. And that's the reason why Prabhupada had to come and write so many books. And you can see in most of Prabhupada's books, he has always stressed about impersonalism. Don't follow impersonalism. Krishna is person. In all the Bhagavatam purports or Bhagavad Gita, whatever books you read from Prabhupada, you will see that Prabhupada has mentioned so much about personal form of Lord and devotional service, and he wanted to get rid of this impersonal mentality from the society. So that is very evident on the purports, that how that this was one of his missions also, Prabhupada's missions. And yeah, this is how Krishna manifests himself through these various internal and external potential. So there are three energies of Krishna: internal, external, and marginal. So the internal energy is in the spiritual world, the external energy is the Maya, the material things, and the marginal energies are the souls, the jivas. And we, along with the marginal energy and along with the external energy, we are trying to exploit the material nature. But through devotional service, we can get rid of these modes and these entanglement and this imprisonment that we have come to, and we can go back to Krishna. That is the crux of all the spiritual knowledge, that we have to get rid of this samsara. Samsara means that cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. So we have to get rid of this and go back to our original place where we came from. With this, I would like to rest my speech, and if you want to add something, if you want to share something, your thoughts, realizations, and if there's something that you want to share, please do. And any questions, please feel free to ask. Jay. Any questions, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very nice class. You put in so much effort in your first session. Beautiful class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Also, in the other, in the next verses, we will study about Karno, the Kashai Vishnu, the Mahavishnu in detail, and what does he do? How does he do? We've had a brief summary here, and about the other forms of Lord, like Garbho, the Kashai Vishnu, Kshiro, the Kashai Vishnu. And in other chapters, they have mentioned about the Leela Avtaras of Krishna's and incarnations of Krishna's in detail. So we'll go through that also. If there's any question or any thoughts, then please feel free. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful class, and very informative and very nicely, very insightful class. Thank you so much. So now we can end the class with the Vaishnava prayers. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय थैंक यू
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the nice class.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you for that lovely class. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.